Previously.
1939, 1945. Please pause and remember our silent keys of World War II.
We pay tribute to these members of the Wireless Institute of Australia who paid the supreme sacrifice. Royal Australian Navy, J.E. Mann, VK1WIA, A.H.G. Ripon, VK6GR. Australian Military Forces, C.D. Roberts, VK2JV, J.D. Morris, VK3DQ, J. McCandlish, VK3HN, S.W. Jones, VK3SF, D.A. Laws, VK4DR, J.G. Phillips, VK5BW, K.S. Anderson, VK6KS. Royal Australian Air Force, F.W.S. Easton, VK2BQ, V.J.E. Jarvis, VK2VJ, W. Abbott, VK2YK, G.C. Curl, VK2AJB, T. Stevens, VK3GO, M.D. Orr, VK3OR, J.F. Colthrop, VK3PL, J.A. Burridge, VK3UW, J.E. Snadden, VK3VE, F.J. Starr, VK4FS, R. Allen, VK4PR, C.A. Ives, VK5AF, B. James, VK5BL, J.E. Goddard, VK6JG, P.P. Patterson, VK6PP, and Merchant Marine, N.E. Gunter, VK3NG, and R.P. Veal, VK3PV.
From Australia, this is VK1WIA and the weekly WIA amateur radio news service on RF, internet streaming and text at wia.org.au.
Well, back to the present. And you're watching or listening or reading the WIA National News for week commencing August 16, 2020, the RD weekend. And folks, Editor-in-Chief of Amateur Radio Magazine, Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, is taking a break from the broadcast this week. Why? Well, because he can. Roger sends sincere thanks to all those who messaged him with congratulations about issue number 2. He says it was a team effort and that's how he gets things done. We are informed that production of AR Magazine issue number 3 for 2020 is well underway, working to a new schedule so that all 6 issues for the year are published by Christmas, lockdowns notwithstanding. On this edition of WIA National News, we'll be joined by Vice President Lee, VK3GK, and also WIA National and Inwards QSL Manager joins us now. That's VK3JLS, John Siemens.
I have been asked by some members as to whether or not the QSL bureaus are currently operating. With the concerns and restrictions related to COVID-19, the services of the QSL bureaus have been seriously curtailed, and that's not just in Australia but around the world. In particular with the Stage 4 lockdown and earlier restrictions in metropolitan Victoria, the WIA National Inwards QSL Bureau has ceased all operations related to the receipt and sorting of incoming QSLs from overseas bureaus. It should be noted that as many countries are in the same position, there is little being received at the Inwards Bureau at this time. Prior to the Stage 3 lockdowns in Victoria, we did manage to sort over 20,000 incoming cards and sought advice from the state bureaus if they wish to accept these cards for their subsequent sorting and distribution. Some states indicated a preference to wait until normal sorting activities resumed. The WIA Outwards Bureau, operated from the West Lakes Radio Club rooms in VK2, has similarly halted any sorting and posting of outbound QSLs, and this included not being present at the Wyong Field Day earlier this year. The Outwards Bureau is holding a large backlog of cards dating from March this year that are yet to be sorted. Until such time as the Outwards Bureau resumes full operations, we would request that members hold any Outward cards destined to that Bureau, rather than adding to the backlog of unopened mail at the Bureau. At this point, I'd also like to take the opportunity to request that if there are any members in the West Lakes area who will be interested in assisting with the sorting of QSL cards, could you please make contact with the West Lakes Radio Club? Any assistance would be greatly appreciated. When normal Bureau operations do resume, I will ensure that members are advised accordingly.
Hi, I am Lee Moyle, VK3GK. I never imagined that when I sat my novice exam in 1979 at age 16, that 40 years later I'd be just as passionate about amateur radio as then, but also the Vice President of the WIA. Back then, as a total newbie, what even was a WIA? In fact, it was WIA Victoria, which is now morphed into Amateur Radio Victoria. For those that may have missed it, Greg, VK2GPK, is back as President. Peter, VK8ZZ, is Acting Secretary, and we are actively seeking for a volunteer secretary, preferably someone with some corporate background. Oscar, VK3TX, Phil, VK2CPR, and Scott, VK3KJ, are all appointed to continue on till end of term. I thank my associate WIA directors for supporting me as Vice President and look forward to working with this great team so we can now start delivering some real tangible benefits to the growing WIA membership over the next few months. We have some great offerings in the pipeline. I must also thank Editor-in-Chief Roger Harrison and the new appointed PubCom team for an excellent AR magazine which has been pre-released digitally. The printed version is on its way too. Great job, guys. Although here in Metro Melbourne we are still in lockdown for at least another few weeks, it has become apparent that the AMC remote exam process has been well received during these times, and it's given many candidates easier access to the amateur radio exams. I think in every other state face-to-face are back in full swing. The relaxation of the call sign structure has caused a massive influx of call sign applications, and reports suggest that well over 300 so far, which has put a considerable amount of workload on the AMC office staff to process exam applications, exam marking and other activities. So please have a little patience and give them a little latitude now while they process it all. Interestingly, I've also seen an increase in exam requests from mainly foundation candidates since the call sign change. Coincidence? Maybe not. But it's a good thing if we can get more people into the hobby. While some of us are locked down, and even if you are not, don't forget that the special call signs are available for activation by logging into the special call sign portal on the WIA website and booking your slot. VK1WIA to VK8WIA, VK110WIA, and VK20 Home are all available to book and use. A special thanks to the WIA Awards Committee for establishing a Triple Play Award. A triple play is when you work a DXCC entity on all three modes, phone, CW and digital. Triple play awards are available for single band, multi-band and multi-mode, i.e. any band. Endorsements including Honour Roll and Excellence are also available as per other DXCC awards. Many of our overseas DX friends will be happy with the ability to now log on and pre-check their award qualification prior to fully subscribing to the WIA Awards program. This should encourage many more participants to enjoy the many WIA award certificates that can be downloaded from the website. That's it from me, and until next time, 7-3 from Vice President Lee, VK3GK.
From Australia, this is VK1WIA and the weekly WIA amateur radio news service on RF, internet streaming and text at wia.org.au.
International news with thanks to IARU, RSGB, SARL, Southgate Amateur Radio Club, ARRL, RAC, NZART, Amateur Radio Newsline, and the worldwide sources of the WIA. I'm Jason, VK2LAW. We begin this week's international news on a sombre note. Our friends at USA's Amateur Radio Newsline has lost one of its own. Bobby Best, Whiskey X-Ray 4 Alpha Lima Alpha, has become a silent key. He died in his sleep on Sunday, August 2nd, at the age of just 49. In addition to his contributions as Newsline staff meteorologist, Bobby enjoyed a 3-decade-long career as a professional broadcaster in his home state of Alabama. His ham radio career found him active in both Skywarn and Aris as he pursued his passion to report weather under challenging circumstances. His call sign, WX4ALA, stood for Weather 4 Alabama. Rest in peace, friend. 5G is driving the RF power semiconductor market. Spending on RF power semiconductors for 4G and 3W continued to grow last year, nearing the US $2 billion mark, according to research from ABI Research. The wireless infrastructure segment has turned around in a big way, according to the company, and all other segments are up as well, with gallium nitride continuing to make inroads. Gallium nitride has gained market share in 2019 and is forecast to be a significant force over the next few years, noted Lance Wilson, Research Director at ABI. It bridges the gap between two older technologies exhibiting high-frequency performance of gallium arsenide combined with the power handling capabilities of silicon LDMOS. Gallium nitride is now a mainstream technology that has achieved more than a quarter of the market and in the future is poised to capture more. Wireless infrastructure, representing about 3/4 of total sales, performs strongly, driven by 5G and ARM mid-band. Second satellite joins European data relay system. Almost a year after its launch, a second European data relay system satellite has become operational on a laser communication network that speeds the data flow between Earth-observing satellites and Earth itself. The EDRS-C satellite, launched on August 6, 2019, has entered full service after a user commissioning review and joins the network's first satellite, EDRS-A. It's in a geostationary orbit about 36,000 kilometres above us. The two EDRS satellites are part of the EU's Copernicus program and join two other Sentinel satellites that assist in the transmission of images and other data gleaned from monitoring vegetation, waterways and soil. First Slovenia to Slovenia contact on 40 metres. On the 9th of August 2020, Borut Sierra 50 Bravo and Evo Sierra 59 Foxtrot managed to complete a contact on 40.680 MHz for the first contact on their new 8-metre band between two Slovenian stations. Even though the distance between each of the stations was only about 20 kilometres, this was over a very poor path with a lot of high ground in the way. Signal reports of 5.3 and 5.5 were exchanged on SSB. Slovenian licensing authorities allocated a slice of spectrum at 8 metres back in 1998. It's only in 2020 that Sierra 5 stations have started up on the band. This is largely in response to the new 8-metre allocations in Ireland and Lithuania. The 8-metre allocation in Slovenia is from 40.660 to 40.700 MHz, the exact same as the ISM, Industrial, Scientific and Medical Band. Media Nations 2020, lockdown leads to surge in TV screen time and streaming. A surge in screen time during lockdown saw UK adults spend 40% of their waking day watching TV and online video services, Ofcom has found in its annual study of the nation's media habits. As people across the UK followed official health advice to stay home during April 2020, they found themselves informed and entertained by spending 6 hours and 25 minutes each day on average, or nearly 45 hours a week, watching TV and online video content, a rise of almost a third on last year. The biggest factor behind this increase was people spending twice as much time watching subscription streaming services such as Netflix, Disney Plus and Amazon Prime Video. 1 hour, 11 minutes per day on average in April 2020. These services attracted around 12 million new subscribers during lockdown, of whom around 3 million had never subscribed to one before. For WIA National News, in Sydney I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
Ham Radio Operational News, it's Contact Sport. I'm Felix, VK4FUQ. RD or Remembrance Day contest will be August 15, 16 and naturally that is this weekend. It's a big weekend in Australia as the world celebrates VJ Day. Also in commemoration of this 75th anniversary of VJ Day, the RSGP has organised a VJ Day Amateur Radio Marathon on HF bands and 6 metres. 3 special UK call signs GB 75 Peace, GB 1945 PE, GB 1945 PJ are on the bands till the 31st of August. The special stations have their own QRZ.com pages with details of the activation schedule. Celebrating the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Korea on the 15th of August 1945, members of the Korean Amateur Radio League are active as HL75V until the end of August. QSL via 6K0MF. The 40th Alara contest will be on again on the last weekend of August. That is Saturday 29th and Sunday 30th.
Hello everyone, this is Sue, VK1WIA, with a reminder about the 40th Alara contest, which will be held next weekend from Saturday 0600 UTC to Sunday 0559 UTC. This year we are trialling a Facebook page for spotting YLs. This page is optional for amateurs using Facebook who wish to notify others about YLs who are in the contest. Just enter the YL's call sign, current frequency and mode. This page is now ready to join. Just search for Alara contest in Facebook and join in on the fun. YLs cannot spot or encourage others to spot them, but it will give other amateurs a chance to easily find and support YLs who are in the contest. We are really looking forward to hearing some young and new YLs in the contest this year and catching up with many amateurs along the way. Some of the committee will be handing out numbers on HF and Echolink to show their support during the contest. The contest rules have now been uploaded to the Alara contest page. For those who don't have Facebook and would like a copy of the rules, please email alaracontest@wia.org.au. We look forward to getting you in the log.
Thanks, Sue. Now the Oceania contest. Voice from 0600 hours UTC Sunday, October 3 to 0600 hours UTC Sunday, October 4. CW from 0600 hours UTC Saturday, October 10 to 0600 hours UTC Sunday, October 11. CQ Worldwide DX SSB October 24-25. CQ Worldwide DX CW November 28-29. December 6 to 8, 160 metres worldwide. December 14-15, 10 metres worldwide. £10 Memorial DX Challenge. 4 award periods each of 3 months starting in January of each calendar year and 2 categories in the contest. Most Wanted and Top 5. Top 5 you try and work the 5 most wanted DXCC entities. Most wanted to work the most wanted DXCC entity. The DX entities in play are those most wanted during those 3-month windows. All major Australian contest rules and results are on the contest section of the WIA website. WIA DX Awards Program. Here is VK3GA.
Overseas DX users of the WIA online award system can now try before you buy. After registration, DX users will have full access to the award system, except they cannot apply for awards. This allows DX users to upload their log, perform the various verifications required, and to interrogate the system as to what awards they qualify for. They will not be able to apply for any awards until the subscription fee is paid or they become a member of the WIA. This allows DX users to have certainty as to what awards they qualify for without having to make an upfront payment. 73 from Graham, VK3GA, Awards Manager.
Thanks, Graham, and now let's peek through the DX window again. Members of the Wireless Institute of Australia, or KIV, will special call VI110 until the end of 2020 to celebrate our 110th anniversary. Activities on the HF bands and QSL as Virello TW. August also sees 2 GB80 special event stations on the air to mark the critical role that radar played in the Battle of Britain 80 years ago. GB80 BRS will be operated to commemorate Borsley Radar Station in Suffolk, where radar was developed in the late 1930s and was the location of the world's first operational radar station. GB80CH will be operated from Chelmsford in Essex, which has the most complete surviving radar tower from the Battle of Britain. Commemorated in the 105th anniversary of the Battle of Gallipoli during World War I, special event stations TC3GP and TC3GS are active until the 23rd of August next weekend. QSLs via YM3 KCN. Listen for special event station 4A2 Max, operating from Mexico during August, honouring the memory of St. Maximilian Kolbe, SP3RN. The station can be heard on the HF bands using CWSSB in various digital modes. QSL Virello TW. For VK1WIA National News, I'm Felix, VK4FUQ Inningham.
From Australia, this is VK1WIA and the weekly WIA amateur radio news service on RF, internet streaming and text at wia.org.au.
With Worldwide Special Interest Group news for this week, hello, I'm Cole, VK3GTV. First up, it's Every Pixel Tells a Story in amateur television. And the RSGB has released 2 more 2019 convention presentations to its YouTube channel. In I Can Hear It, Why Won't It Decode?, Neil, G4DBN, explains choosing the best digital mode for Tropo DX at VHF and above. He also investigates multipath, scintillation, scatter modes and radio characteristics on signal coherence and decodability. In the second presentation, 122 GHz and up, Chris G0FDZ covers the challenges and equipment used on the 122, 134, 241 GHz and higher bands. Worldwide Special Interest Group's Final Frontier. German satellite demonstrates orbit control on 1-unit CubeSat. Experimental Satellite 4, also known as UWE-4, successfully used its propulsion system in order to conduct orbit control. The 1-unit CubeSat is equipped with an electric propulsion system developed by the Technical University in Dresden, and this marks the first time in CubeSat history that a 1U CubeSat has changed its orbit using an onboard propulsion system. Several maneuvers were performed within 11 days, lowering the CubeSat's altitude by more than 100 metres, compared to an average of just 21 metres with natural orbital decay. Worldwide Special Interest Group's ILLW, a beacon of hope. With just days to go, registrations for the 2020 International Lighthouse Lightship Weekend have reached 300, with only 8 cancellations so far due to COVID-19 restrictions, which have caused some lighthouses to be off-limits to the public, including, of course, well-meaning amateur radio operators. New to the event is Angels Gate Lighthouse in Los Angeles Harbour, which will be operated from a boat, weather permitting. Barbados has Ragged Point Lighthouse entered, and Bonaire is another new country with Spelonk Lighthouse, operated by PJ4DX. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Lowdown. SAQ Alexanderson Day sets unique listener record. The vintage SAQ Alexanderson alternator in Grimeton, Sweden, conducted its transmissions on 17.2 kHz on the 5th of July as part of SAQ Alexanderson Day. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the transmitter hall was empty, except for the 5 members of the Alexander Association who would make the transmissions. Visitors were directed towards the visitor centre. The planned 2 transmissions were also live-streamed to their YouTube channel. On the first transmission, the rainy weather was making it hard at first to reach good output to the antenna, but after a few minutes, the system started to dry up and the amps increased. They've received 630 unique listener reports from all over the world and a new record for SAQ Anderson Day. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Radio Amateur Old-Timers. He's licensed for a lifelong love of radio. The youthful love of amateur radio grows up and matures, but for many of us, it doesn't go away, at any age. Ralph, KK6ITF, tells us about one very special new licensee whose love dates back to World War II, as we'll hear in this story from our friends at AR Newsline.
The first time Brian Knight got his amateur radio license, he was 11 years old. The world was living under the shadow of World War II when Brian, who was growing up in the UK, became the proud holder of a G3 call sign. Now a retired aerospace engineer, Brian just got a new call sign again, this time after testing with the Bledsoe County Amateur Radio Club in Tennessee, where he lives. On July 11th, he earned his general class ticket at age 93. The Bledsoe County Club was celebrating its first anniversary when Brian stopped by Field Day in June. His fate was sealed. In July, he sat for his exam. Now, he's back on the air as KO4FHG. It's not his first U.S. call sign. A veteran of the Royal Air Force, he moved to the U.S. and after gaining citizenship, got his license as a young man. But, as he told Newsline recently, life happens and licenses lapse. Well, no more. KO4FHG is back to rag chewing on the local repeaters and is getting ready to return to HF. He's also polishing his CW. Andrew Albertson, KN4CTG, club trustee and founding member, told Newsline, "This is what we got into it for, to promote the hobby and bring back some of the life into the hobby." At 93 years of age, Brian couldn't agree more about great new beginnings. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Ralph Squillaci, KK6ITB.
A great story. Thanks, Ralph. Now on to radio scouting. And Huon District Scout Station VK7HSD is looking for some on-air help. With 6 scouts studying hard for their FCAL licences, the next big step of training will be an on-air contact. They're seeking to make voice contacts this coming Tuesday, the 18th of August, between 1700 and 1830 hours local time. The preferred 80-metre frequency of 3610 kHz is proposed to be used, and it would be greatly appreciated if you could answer CQ calls from VK7HSD, whilst also remembering the need for a little patience for the training operators. After all, it can be a very nervous occasion. Can you remember your first HF contact? A QSL card will most definitely be sent in appreciation of your support. And as a scout leader for many years myself, also assisting scouts to obtain their amateur licence, it's a great feeling for the instructors as well as the participants, so I wish you all well and look forward to welcoming you all on air soon with your new call signs. Worldwide Special Interest Group's Rescue Radio. This annual nationwide exercise provides Amateur Radio Emergency Service, ARIS, volunteers the chance to test personal emergency operating skills and communication readiness in a simulated emergency deployment. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, VHF and above, new 2700 km plus IARU Region 1 Tropo record on 23 centimetres between Ireland and the Canary Islands. On the 17th of July this year, there was a Tropo opening between the Canary Islands and the UK and Ireland on the VHF and UHF bands. A remarkable contact was made on 1296 MHz between EA8CXN and EI2FG, which turned out to be a new IARU Region 1 Tropo record for the 23 centimetres microwave band. Unlike other recent records, the mode used this time was SSP, with 5.1 and 5.4 reports exchanged. The distance was an amazing 2,714 kilometres, so our congratulations on achieving that new record. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Youngsters on the Air, YOTA Online. The youth working group within the IARU Region 1 has created a new program called YOTA Online. In these monthly gatherings, a team of active youngsters have presented different topics whilst answering questions from the youth community, and you can read more about the activities on their website, ham-yota.com. That's it for Worldwide Special Interest Group news for this week. I'm Cole, VK3GTV.
On the 2020 social scene now as we get to the end of WIA national news. Social scene for November onwards. We broadcast from November onwards only due to the COVID-19 situation. So please check these events direct for up-to-date status information, as already we have one event which was planned for November, sensibly postponed for a further 12 months, that being the VK7 Biennial Hamfest. Up north in Rockhampton, it's the Rockhampton Amateur Radio Club's annual dinner, Saturday, November 21. In Townsville, it's the Tark Christmas Party, Sunday, December 13 from 2 p.m, and the Tark Christmas Lights Tour, Friday the 18th of December from 7 p.m.
Hey, listen up. We are breaking the curfew on announcements for events happening before November to bring you good news. The famous and popular Central Highlands Amateur Radio Club AGM weekend is definitely on this year, happening at the Lake Maribyrn Holiday Village, approximately 25 kilometres southwest of Emerald, Central Queensland, from Friday the 25th to Sunday the 27th of September. Apart from the annual general meeting, there will be the famous mega auction of treasure, a multi-draw raffle, the money board, a sumptuous meal package gathered by Chark volunteers and cooked up by the Iron Faraday cage chefs, plus a chance to catch up at one of the best spots in Central Queensland. Want to come along? You need to let events coordinator Helen, VK4 Foxtrot Hotel Echo Lima, know your attendance or catering, and you also need to book into the village now, as accommodations evaporating fast. Self-contained and you can't get into the village? Contact Bob, VK4 Charlie Whiskey Lima, to find out more about the off-site options. Remember, Helen, VK4 Foxtrot Hotel Echo Lima needs your catering numbers now. Don't grumble if you show up unannounced. or miss the September 21st deadline and have no din-dins to eat. Now, need to have more information about this fabulous weekend away for hams and support crews? Check out the text edition of this news, or search at the Central Highlands Amateur Radio Club website, the TARC website, the TARC, Mara, Radar or Gladstone Facebook pages for more information about the Central Highlands Amateur Radio Club AGM Weekend 2020. This is Gavin, VK4ZZ, Publicity Officer for the Shark Inc., and you are tuned in to the WIA News Service.
Well, I know that there's no lockdown in VK4, but Gavin there certainly sounds like he's locked up in the local cell. OK, with that, I'm Graham, VK4BB. Thanks for listening, thanks for viewing, thanks for reading. Next week, the Alara girls will be along with the edition of WIA National News. Till then, walk softly.
From Australia, this has been VK1WIA and the weekly WIA Amateur Radio News Service. On RF, we thank our rebroadcast team and you for listening. And remember, internet streaming and text of this news is available 24/7 at wia.org.au.